they will be able to go from point A and by the end of the summit have everything that they need specifically for their needs in the game of golf. When they start from day one, they're going to have the foundation. Day two is going to go into how to do more of the full swing. Day three is going to be more of like the like wedge play, strategy, mental side of things. So it's going to follow a storyline that's going to show them from point A all the way to point Z, everything they need. And then by the end of it, they are going to be much different when they first started. If you have something that you're struggling with, then seek out that instructor. And it's 100% free.
That's today's guest, instructor Bo Watson, with an incredible game improvement opportunity for you on Golf Smarter number 735. The Consistent Golf Summit. 3 days of free online instruction from 16 incredible teachers.
This is Golf Smarter. Sharing stories, tips, and insights from great golf minds to help you lower your score and raise your golf IQ. Here's your host, Fred Green.
Welcome to the Golf Smarter podcast, Bo.
Hey, Fred. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm really excited about talking to you because you've come up with a really neat idea. But before we go there, I just need to know, how long have you been stuck at home? And are you stuck at home?
Right now, no, not stuck at home because in North Carolina, we're actually still allowing play on the golf course. So we're still okay. Yeah.
Wow. In North Carolina. Okay. So you're getting out, you're seeing students on a regular basis right now?
We are. We just have to make sure that we're applying the social distance rule. So as long as we're doing that, we're okay.
Please take it seriously. Please don't mess with it. All right. Anyway, okay. Well, lucky you. You get to be outside, and I hope the weather is good enough to be outside right now, this time of year.
Yeah, that is. We actually been having a few days in the 60s and 70s, but the next 3 days we got all low 80s.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's great. So tell me where you teach. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I teach at Meadowlands Golf Club. My school is Watson School of Golf. And so that's our in-person, I guess you would say, home base. And my story started just like a lot of golfers. I started young. I picked up the game. Grandparents introduced it to me. I was 5 years old at a time. And it was funny because I hit that shot and it was like just yesterday and it hooked me. Mm. And, I was hooked. I had a dream to play on the PGA Tour. Kind of long story short, got to high school, wasn't panning out the way I wanted it. I had to make a decision, either go play a D3 school or go to Campbell University and learn under the guy by the name of David Orr. And those of you not familiar, David Orr is the world-renowned short game coach to guys like Justin Rose, Olympic gold champion, Hunter Mahan, Paul Casey, Cheyenne Woods, Tiger's niece, and many others. Wow. And it was really interesting because this is where this whole process started, Fred. And I think it's very important for our listeners because when I got to Campbell, here's what's interesting. I ended up going for a PGA golf degree, but I still had a dream to teach myself. That was the whole purpose of going down there, to learn under David. I thought, why not just go and learn under a guy that's already teaching some tour players and then teach myself and keep the dream alive. And what was interesting was every person that goes into the PGA program, they have to take what's called a playing ability test. And so you have to shoot 156 target score or lower. And what was just mind blowing was that first time takers are only passing 15% of the time.
Wow.
And these were numbers that I took myself and just observing. And what was crazy, if you go walk up and down the range any given day and you watch all those same players, you thought they were training or they were mini tour players. So it's not adding up. And David was at the time teaching player development classes, and all he was teaching was full swing. And, it was working. Guys' swings were looking really good. But the issue was these guys weren't scoring. David flipped the switch, teamed up with a guy named David Edel. He's, Edel Golf. They made custom-made putters.
Yeah, I thought I knew that name.
Right. And him and David started doing some putting research, and that's where I entered the picture as David's intern. And
which David, Orr or Edel?
David Orr.
Okay.
So David Adele would come a few times a year, do some custom fittings, but David Orr was responsible for collecting the data and the research and also doing some custom fittings as well. And all this research that we did, we ended up presenting at MIT.
Wow.
And, it gets out. Sean Foley comes knocking. The rest is history. And, but when you back up, after David flipped the switch and started doing more putting, more holistic, more playing strategies, mapping greens, all the stuff that tour players should do, some of the best, the passing rates for that PAT went from 15% to as high as 65%.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yes. So
the short game.
Short game and everything, right? And and what happened was that became the model for all player development classes at all PGA universities in the U.S.
Wow.
So I'm looking at this as his intern. I'm going, oh my gosh. Not only does this work for PGA students, but this works for everybody. Like, this needs to get out.
Yeah.
And so I fell in love with teaching the game during that time as his intern, right? And I'm sitting here with a front row seat. And I'm like, my gosh, I gotta do something about this. And so I switched gears, and I haven't looked back since. Left there, started Watson School of Golf. We can talk about the School of Lifetime Low Rounds, but what I did is I took that system, modified it, and ever since we've done that, we've now been responsible in the last 3 years, 79 students shooting their new Lifetime Low Rounds. A lot of these golfers have been playing over 15, 20 years. And we've helped now over 360 students drop 4 strokes or more off their game.
Wow. That's really impressive.
Yeah, so that's kind of everything in a nutshell.
Yeah. So when you say a holistic approach, let's flesh that out a little bit.
So a holistic approach would be more focused on all aspects of the game. And, one of the unique things about what we do in the school at Watson School of Golf is we start our very first session out on the course. And so it's kind of sad. And I'm guilty of this in the past. When I left school, I kind of went away from the model. And, but typically when you go get a lesson, most instructors will start on the range.
Yep.
And, it's the typical, hey, miss.
Let's see your swing.
Yep. Let's take out your 7-iron, right? Hit a few shots and then just go right into it. Where we're different is we're actually starting that very first session. We're going in the clubhouse. We're sitting down. You're already filling out a questionnaire ahead of time. We're really diving deep into the goals that you're looking for. And then once we understand what you're looking for, we go out on the course. We're collecting strokes gain data, and then we're also collecting video. And so from a strokes gain standpoint, we see exactly which area that you need help in. And then according to your goals, we then customize a plan. And so that will, be determined upon what your weaknesses are. If you're like, hey, I want to shoot 75 by, the next 3 months, and you're currently shooting 85, and we find that you're telling me, hey, my full swing's really good, and, my putting is really good. But when we go out and we see, no, your chipping and pitch shots are pretty good. Your driver's good, but your irons are a weakness. And we're also seeing that your putting is a weakness. And so now we're able to dive deep into it, just like a doctor would using an MRI. So that's kind of the holistic approach that we take.
Sure. That's fabulous. And do you get into the mental side of it too? I mean, if you're out on the course, you have no choice, right?
Absolutely. More so now in the last few months than we ever have before.
Why is that?
Well, we can go into that. You want to talk about what happened last year? So
why not?
Here's what happened.
We're talking, man. Let's do it.
So last year I sit down with a friend of mine, and totally different industry. He's a speed skating coach. And what was interesting is we're having a conversation. He's kind of sharing some of his past, success stories. And I'm watching and listening to this. I'm like, wait a minute. You're telling me you've been responsible for sending 40 guys to the national team, and then 19 players or speed skaters to the world team. And then you've also coached 2 Olympians. And you're also showing me that every single one of them through text messages from each of their his former speed skaters saying that, yes, this thing worked. It got me in the zone on a flip of a switch. And I'm sitting there with my jaw dropped to the table, and I'm trying to pick this thing up, and I'm like, wait, Shannon, if what you're telling me is true, then this could be game changing for the game of golf. I was like, if we could take the principles that you're sharing right now and we can apply this to golf, oh my goodness, this is going to change the game of golf overnight. And so I was like, okay, I'll tell you what, let me take what you just shared. And if you don't mind, let me take some of those principles. Let me apply it to my own game, because I was my own worst enemy. I was the guy that would go out and play. And Fred, I'm sure you can relate, and many of our listeners.
Why do you think we call it Golf Smarter? Oh, yes, I relate.
So, I mean, this is like the typical round. You go out, you play 5 or 6 holes, and you're like, man, I'm like 1 or 2 under, or let's say some of our listeners are like even or 1 over, and that's a really good, start.
Yeah.
And for me, it'd be like 1 or 2 under, and I'm like, okay, this is going great. And then,
isn't that the moment you sabotage yourself?
That's
just when you say, hey, this is going great.
Right. Done. Yep. And I would still, come in with a respectable round, like 1 under even, but it's not like the 7, 8 under, that I was looking for. Right. And, that's the one thing that it was so funny, because that happened all the time to me. And that's one of the big reasons why I didn't, play, or I guess you would say Division I golf, is because of the mental side of it. So I took this stuff that Shannon shared with me, and I was like, you know what? I'm teaching a lot, and I'm also doing a lot of entrepreneurial stuff, and we'll get to the end of that in a minute. But I was like, okay, let's put this stuff to work. Let's test it out. And I played 8 rounds. Played 8 rounds last year, and 6 out of my 8 rounds I was under par. And the last round that I played was 9 holes. I was 4 under par, and I lipped out 3 birdies.
Long pause. Lift myself up off the ground. What?
Yes. And here's the thing. I mean, again, I'm not practicing. I'm going out every single one of those rounds, cold turkey, day of, because I just really didn't have any desire to get out there and practice, because I got a lot of other projects going on.
Life gets in the way of practice.
Right. Absolutely. I got my family, my wife, and, those are the things that, matter most for me right now. And, when I play, go out and have fun. But at the same time, I was like, wait a minute. So if this can work, I didn't practice. I didn't do anything. All I did was apply the principles. Wow, we got our hands on something special. So I then take that, and I took the same stuff that I was using, and I started teaching some of my students the same principles. And Fred, a lot of this was overnight success. I had one student. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had one student, he was consistently low 80s, mid 80s, and I shared with him some of these principles. And the next day he texted me. I get a text from him. He said, hey, Bo, guess what I shot? And I was like, I don't know. What'd you shoot, James? He said, 76. Wow. It's like, wow, that's awesome. And I got multiple text messages just like that. So it has been really special, and I cannot wait to share this with the world.
We will get into that. But first, I want to take a quick time out, because this episode of the Golf Smarter podcast is brought to you by Omax Health. Now more than ever, it's critical to take care of yourself and avoid unnecessary trips to the doctor, chiropractor, even the masseuse. Social distancing is having an effect on everything these days. And nothing is more important right now than keeping your body healthy and pain-free. CryoFreeze CBD Pain Relief Roll-On is an all-natural topical pain reliever that instantly ices out the pain with a 1-2 punch of super cold menthol and hemp CBD. CryoFreeze contains 10 powerful ingredients that combine to provide a powerhouse dose of relief, which can last up to 8 full hours, much longer than any other roll-on. Omax is offering Golf Smarter listeners 20% off a 1-month supply of Omax CryoFreeze plus free shipping. This discount also applies towards any product you're going to find on their website. Just go to omaxhealth.com. That's OMAX, omaxhealth.com. OmaxHealth.com and enter code GolfSmarter. I got to tell you, I started a new exercise routine at the beginning of this state-issued lockdown. And I was doing this squat jump, right? Squat and jump, and I pulled a calf muscle. And it wasn't the first time I've done it. I've done it on a diving board. So this is a reoccurring. And the one thing I learned is stop doing that. The second thing I've learned is it's time to change the classic instruction of RICE, which is rest, ice, compression, and elevate. Well, I've changed it. It's now rest, ice, CBD, elevate. And I'm telling you, it works. CryoFreeze was inspired by cryotherapy, which means cold therapy. The treatment exposes the body to cold temperatures in order to numb and reduce pain or inflammation. So if you have any pain that won't go away, then you qualify for Omax CryoFreeze. Simply roll it over where it hurts and ice out the pain. No messy creams or horrible fragrances like some of those other products. CryoFreeze works within 5 minutes of application, improving physical training, recovery, and performance. So again, go to omaxhealth.com, O-M-A-X, omaxhealth.com, and enter the code GolfSmarter to get 20% off everything on their entire website. You mentioned, you kind of dropped this in while you were talking about working with your students, that you have a questionnaire before you go out on the course for your first lesson with them. Mm-hmm. What do you cover in the questionnaire? What are you trying to find out about the person?
So I really want to find out why they play the game. Is this, and I think that's the first question I ask, because I think it's very important, because for many people, it's going to be different reasons.
Sure.
You have a purpose of golf, and then you have the goal of golf. Like the goal of golf is, shoot the lowest score, or, play a pretty good round of golf, or, hit some good shots. And then the purpose of golf, could be, hey, I want to get out and spend time with my family, or, in a time like we're in right now, where a lot of people are, quarantined, but in some states, and like in my area, golf is actually one of the very few activities that's actually allowed. And so it's like a stress reliever.
Yep.
And so that's a very important question for me, because it helps me as an instructor to truly understand, where are they coming at with this? Is this someone that I need to really be specific with in my instruction, that they're trying to make it on tour? Or is this someone that's like, hey, I just want to shoot 5 strokes better next time I go out, or I just want to beat my buddy that always takes my money every Saturday morning? So it's wanting to find out what that is.
Or I've got a charity tournament that I'm playing in next week, and I need to learn how to play.
100%. Absolutely.
Oh God, all the time, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm going on a golf trip next week with some friends, and I haven't played in 8 months. Make me better.
Oh my goodness.
You've obviously heard those.
It's funny. Some. I thought I'd see a lot more of it, but not as much. I think a lot more people are getting more educated that it is a process and it takes time. But I will be upfront with people. I'm like, look, and through this whole process of doing this system that we've created, helping people shoot their new lifetime low rounds and tracking their numbers month to month basis, we have data that shows them how long it takes the average person to get to a certain goal. And so I'll sit there and be like, look, I understand that you want to shoot 15 strokes lower by 2 months, but here's what here's what the data shows. And I'll be upfront with them. I mean, just like a doctor would, if you go in and you have cancer, God forbid, and, you're sitting there and you're having a talk with the doctor is not going to say, hey, yeah, we're going to completely heal this in 2 days. No, it's a process. You got to go through treatment. You might have to change your food, and you have to do a lot of different things. And so we kind of take that same process when we go through that whole questionnaire process, and then also guiding them to where they're trying to get to.
Okay. Very cool. You've got a couple of courses that you have on your website that I just love the name of the courses that you have. One is the School of Lifetime Low Rounds, right? Yep. And then you also have the 4 shots in 1 week course. Mm-hmm. Let's break those down just briefly before we get into the
Sure.
good stuff. We're going to talk about the Consistent Golf Summit, and that's a tease about that. We'll cover in a minute. But I'm really curious. Tell me about the School of Lifetime Low Rounds.
So the purpose of the School of Lifetime Low Rounds, Fred, is this. It started last year in Watson School of Golf. I made a announcement to our students, and that was our goal is to help reach a local community, help them get 1,000 golfers to shoot their new lifetime low rounds.
Wow.
Now, on my whiteboard and part of School of Lifetime Low Rounds, that's the bigger umbrella for the online platform. My big, hairy, audacious goal on the whiteboard I have over here in my room is to help 100,000 golfers to shoot their new lifetime low rounds.
Wow. We like that.
Yeah. And so that's why you're going to see a lot of different things that are coming, like the 4 shots 1 week, the summit that we have coming up. And we also have 2 more coming later this year. So, yeah, there's a lot that's going on with the School of Lifetime Low Rounds. Now, the 4 shots 1 week, that course is actually birthed out of what I learned from David when we were at Campbell. So when we shifted gears and we went from working on solely full swing for a lot of the player development classes, we then went to working more on short game. We worked on putting. We worked on everything from a wedge standpoint, how to hit bunker shots, how to do pitch shots, how to do chipping, what's the technique. And, there's some little secret things that are inside that a lot of people don't talk about. And a lot of people don't realize this, but yes, David is, world renowned for putting, but I would put him up against any person out there when it comes to short game completely. When it talks about wedge play, all that, he's got some incredible knowledge on it. So again, I'm sitting there front row seat as his intern, taking notes on all this. And what I did was I created the 4 shots 1 week course based on that, but also in the book, Every Shot Counts, Mark Brody talks about when you break down the strokes gained side of things, just chipping or the short game and putting alone, I think it came out to 3.9 strokes. And so strokes. There's your 4 strokes, right? Yep. And so when the people go through the 4 shots 1 week course, hence it only takes 1 week, we have been seeing some incredible results.
Fabulous. Congratulations.
I appreciate it. I mean, we've got guys that are, I think our biggest one was 6.8 shots. Yep.
Wow.
So.
And you're saying 6.8 shots from the score that he shot that day from what his handicap is or his average score is?
Yeah. So we have 2 ways. We have a evaluation that they test up front, which will give them a breakdown handicap for each one of those areas. And then they test afterwards and they see it. But also, because their handicap score is not going to show it immediately. It's going to take some time for your scores. So we can show it that way, but they also can see it when they go out and play. So like, for example, let's say the guy, John goes out and shoots 85. And then after he goes through the course, he goes out and shoots maybe 80 or 79, the next week. Pretty cut and dry.
Pretty cool. That's awesome. All right, listen, I want to get into the Consistent Golf Summit. This is something that I think the Golf Smarter audience is going to go nuts on, and we're going to do it right after this. So you really got my attention when one of your PR people reached out to me to talk about the Consistent Golf Summit, which I thought was just a great name. And then I started reading about it, and it's like, oh, this is legit. This is going to be phenomenal. And I just know that it's the type of thing that the Golf Smarter community, what we like to call them Golf Martyrs, they're going to love it. They're going to love it. And I am so excited to talk about it. So it is an online summit. You know what? You tell me about it.
Absolutely. It is in a summit that we're really excited about, but I think we have to share why we're putting it on. Okay. And this is what it's going to come down to. Fred, the reason why we're putting this thing together is because, one, National Golf Foundation, it came out with research, I think it was last year, and they showed that roughly about 1.5 million golfers quit the game every single year. And when you break that down, of course, about half of them, they're aging out. But the rest of it is due to frustration. And what's amazing is when you look at that right there, the number one issue, and Proponent Group is a group I was part of. They just got recently acquired by the Golf Channel. But Lauren Anderson post an article that showed that the number one issue was frustration. And then there was another research article that was posted that showed that the reason why golfers are quitting or they're frustrated was actually a lot of it was self-inflicted. Hmm. And so one of the articles that he posted was that only 23% of golfers are seeking help from an instructor. Okay.
Okay.
So, and
the rest are on YouTube.
Exactly. Exactly. And you and I both know when we go on YouTube, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good information out there.
Yes,
but
there is.
There is also a lot of bad information. And
yes,
you, as the golfer, if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, you can go down a big rabbit hole and then you end up worse than when you started.
Well, it's also, there's good information that's inappropriate for some golfers, right? 100%. It's like, that's why going one-on-one with a teacher, it's like, okay, let's see what your issues are and let's correct those, right? YouTube can't do that, nor can the Golf Channel, sorry.
100%. And so what we've looked at was like, look, we can't change their behavior. They're going to keep doing this. And so when we think about that, well, how are we going to get them to start? How are we going to get them the right information? And so we thought about that. Well, they're going to go online. Rather than go to YouTube, why don't they go to some place where they can get the answer directly from the source? And so what we done is we went out and we sought out the expert in each niche within golf and brought them on the summit. So for an example, we got guys like, David Orr, we'll start with him. David Orr is well renowned for putting. We got guys like, let's see.
Wait, I thought it was David Edel that was the putting guy. But he partnered with David Orr. Okay.
Yeah, so David Edel, he makes custom-made putters, but when it talks about putting instruction, David Orr is your guy.
Okay.
We also have James Lights. He's really well known for ground reaction forces. We got Dr. Brett McCabe on the mental side of things. We have Adam Young. Many people probably recognize that name. He is the author of the practice manual. And then we also have Michael Hebron, fantastic in the learning space. We have Trillium Rose, who is an expert on motor learning. And then we also have guys like Chris Manson, really good on the fitness side of things. He's the founder of Connexit. In my opinion, I believe it is way better than TPI because it focuses on actual movement. So we're really excited to share that. Yeah. And then we also got some, big names like Adam Bazalgett. He is the founder of Scratch Golf Academy. We have Chris Ryan from Chris Ryan Golf. And then a few other people like Michael Napoleon. That's the founder of Super Speed Golf. So we're going to talk about how you can gain distance. And one of the neat things that Michael's going to share is how you can gain an extra 20 yards off the tee. So we're excited about that part. And then the legend himself, Scott Fawcett. Those of you that are not familiar with Scott is the founder of Decade. And he is responsible for 9 USGA titles and 4 individual NCAA titles in the last 5 years. So he is the coach to Bryson DeChambeau, Cameron Champ, Will Zalatoris, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, Scott's been on the show.
Awesome. Great guy.
Amazing. Yeah.
So we got
So this is a very impressive list of people, and so many of them are new to me, which I'm really excited about because I want to get them on the show. Can we get them on the show?
100%. Absolutely.
Awesome. So what is the format of the summit?
So the format is going to be pretty interesting. It's going to follow a storyline, and
but it's online, right? It's a completely online thing. So
absolutely,
people don't have to leave their house.
Correct. They don't have to leave. So even in a time when they are not able to practice, they'll be able to watch and still sharpen their game.
Summit?
April 14th through the 16th.
Oh, we may still be in lockdown or we may be free, but it's definitely worth being home that weekend for that. So, okay, April 14 to 16. And let's talk about that format.
Absolutely. So when they attend this, and it's 100% free, they can attend for free.
Awesome.
They will follow a storyline, which is really neat because they will be able to go from point A and by the end of the summit have everything that they need specifically for their needs in the game of golf. So what we recommend and, highly encourage is, definitely go through it all. But if you have something that you're struggling with, then seek out that instructor. And that's why we did it this way. Is like, look, if you're struggling with wedge play, one of the other big names that we have on the summit, James Siekman. So he's going to cover the wedge side of things. And those of you not familiar, he's a PGA Tour coach to 19 tour players. He's written 2 books, phenomenal books, and he's going to go into wedge play. So when they start from day 1, they're going to have the foundation. Day 2 is going to go into how to do more of the full swing. Day 3 is going to be more of like the like wedge play strategy, mental side of things. So it's going to follow a storyline that's going to show them from point A all the way to point Z, everything they need. And then by the end of it, they are going to be much different when they first started.
And so it's 3 days or 4?
3 days.
3 days. And so do you have multiple sessions? And obviously you must have multiple sessions per day, but do you have sessions that are going simultaneously? Do you have like somebody doing putting and somebody doing short game at the same time that we might miss one? Or
no, not at all. It'll all be spaced out. So yes, we'll have multiple sessions per day, but we'll have them spaced out. So yes, you'll be able to watch one at a time.
Okay, great.
Back to back.
And so how many per day are you doing?
Right now we're looking at it's going to be 5 to 6 per day.
And each one is how long?
Roughly it's going to go from anywhere from 25 minutes to maybe some of the longer ones that are more detailed. Like Michael Manavian, he is a world expert on the club fitting side. I cannot wait for his presentation. So this is going to be pretty long, but it's going to be mind-blowing because he's the only one in the world that actually club fits using gears.
I'm not sure what that means.
So what gears is, it's the system that measures with a camera system that measures in 3D. And he hooks it up to each club, and he's the only one that actually does this. And so there's going to be some things that he's going to show that is going to just blow people's minds.
Wow. Well, They just announced new iPads that have better augmented reality cameras. So maybe they'll be able to use that. Everyone will get to use that. All right. So these sessions are anywhere from 25 minutes to an hour or more.
The majority of them are going to be about 25 to 50 minutes. We may just have 1 or 2 that might go over an hour, but the majority of them are going to be somewhere around 25 to like 50 minutes.
Okay. How do we find this summit? Where do we go?
So the summit is going to be consistentgolfsummit.com.
I'm writing this down. consistentgolfsummit.com. And you're going to get a total. Do you have a total? Do you have all your teachers signed already? Or are you still booking people?
We do have the majority under some, I guess you'd say
handshake and agreement, but they've agreed to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't need to get into your legal crap.
No, they're all on board, and but under some circumstances, we may accept some other instructors, but it just all depends. We just added another group. It's Golf Pro Delivered, and we're excited to have them on board because they're going to actually show you how to learn the game of golf from using a home simulator.
Wow.
Yeah. And what's going to be really neat is not only are they going to show that part, but they're also going to answer a lot of the common asked questions that many golfers have when they're trying to buy a simulator. And a matter of fact, now, under quarantine, I'm seeing a lot of Facebook forums and a lot of players are saying, well, I can't play, but hey, any guys know about what I should be looking for in purchasing a simulator? And so they're going to answer a lot of those questions.
Wow. So wait, how many total teachers you got doing the summit, giving sessions?
Right now we are at 18.
18 teachers over 3 days.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Yep. So I was planning on that weekend being a getaway weekend. I'm just kind of throwing this out there. It's not true, but it's April 14th to 16th. It's like 18 plus hours of commitment. On a weekend, I should be playing golf anyway, right? Or any other circumstance that comes up, I can't make it. Then I'm screwed, right? I mean, if I don't get to, and it's free, but I can't make it, but I want to hear every single session. I don't know if I have that 18 hours that weekend. Is it possible? What can I do?
Well, the beauty thing is actually the dates are the Tuesday through Thursday. However,
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier.
right. But the good thing is, even if they miss the session that hour, we'll have it on a recording for a full 24 hours. So they can watch that later that afternoon. They could watch it that night. They could watch it overnight or even early morning the next day. So they will have plenty of time to be able to watch that.
And that session would be available for free for that 24 hours?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So each individual, are these video sessions or audio sessions?
These are video.
These are video sessions, so they can really showcase what they're doing. They might even be in their own studio or their own
Absolutely.
their range spot. Okay, so Tuesday through Thursday, April 14th through 16, right? And 24 hours available. That's really nice of you to be able to allow that, to have that. So people can go for free, consistentgolfsummit.com. But now I've missed my 24-hour period because the 24-hour period is going to be over on a Friday night, end of Friday or first thing Saturday, and then I'm going to play golf. As I've been working all week and I've missed it. I'm just, like setting this up.
Yep.
What happens if we can't make this summit?
Well, lucky for them, we are going to be recording it. And so they will actually have access to what would be called an all access pass. So this will give them unlimited access. Not only that, they're going to actually get access to bonuses that a lot of the speakers are going to be including. They're going to get notes, transcribed notes. They're also going to get audio files. And there's a lot of other things that we're going to be including in that all access pass. And we just got word from
audio files of what?
So we'll actually be recording the entire session. So it'll be like an actual audio file that they could actually listen to while they're going to work, working out.
So like as a podcast, you can listen to it while you're doing something else. You don't have to sit and watch it. And then once you hear something that really intrigues you, you can go back to the video and refer to that.
You got it.
I like this so much, Bo. This is so cool. All right. Yeah. All access pass, bonus material, videos, notes, audio files. Is there more?
There's some other stuff coming. Absolutely.
Like what? Come on.
Well, we just got word from Adam Bazalgett. So that's the founder of Scratch Golf Academy. He has a very popular course, and we're pretty certain that he's going to include in that all access pass the drop 5 strokes. There's also a new course that he just created with the practice, so he's going to include that in there as well. There's a lot of other bonuses that the speakers are going to be including in it. Like Adam, he's got a first free month of his membership site. Dr. Brett McCabe's got an entire free month of his Insider Club. So there's a lot of, just incredible value. Like when you really break down that all access pass, that thing should be valued at over several thousand. But
yeah, if you tried to get to these teachers individually, yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So
come on, you were about to say something. I got you. I got the but
they don't have to pay that several thousand. It's going to be very, very a nominal fee for only $197.
Wait, for $197?
Yeah, if they buy it before the summit starts.
Oh, okay. So we're running tight on time here now. So it's $197 for the all access pass before April 14th.
Yep.
Okay.
And then when it goes live, it will be $247 during the week. But after the summit ends, it will be $297.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay, after summit is $297. All right. So, you talked about something earlier. When is this going to be part of it? It's like when you talked about flipping the switch on getting in the zone. Do you have is that guy your speed skating teacher? Is he going to be part of the summit?
Yes, he is. I cannot wait to.
I'm digging this.
As a matter of fact, he's going to be the grand finale.
Really?
Yep.
It's that good.
It's going to be that good.
Oh, man. All right. So $197 if you purchase at consistentgolfsummit.com before April 14th.
Yes.
The summit itself is April 14th through the 16th. If you purchase it during that time, it's $247. If you wait till after April 16th, you could still buy the full summit and all the bonus materials that it comes with for $297, valued at priceless, at thousands of dollars worth of value.
Yep. You got it.
Hey, Bo, nice job, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I think this, I've been doing this for a while, and I've never come across anybody doing a summit like this with so many teachers covering so many topics. It's almost like a podcast. I've been trying to do with this podcast for years. Yeah. It's brilliant. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, it blew my mind. I mean, we've been doing this as an industry, the PGA show. We've always had these education conference, from, instructor to instructor. Oh yeah. I mean, when you go to PGA show every year in January, there's multiple education, sessions going on.
Sure.
But it never made sense why we never did this from the instructor and do it out to the consumer. And thankfully with technology and, this has been very successful in a lot of other industries. And I just blew my mind. I could not believe we had not done it yet in the golf industry. And so this will be the very first one.
So are you cool with the fact that I want to bring some of these teachers that you're featuring on the summit, that I want to bring them on the podcast and get them to talk about their stuff, even though it's going to be included in your summit? Can I you've got a lot of teachers. That's a lot of content for the podcast. Can I tap you for getting names and introductions to a lot of these people?
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
The more we get the word out, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Bo, congratulations. What's your website?
So my website is twofold. It's schooloflifetimelowrounds.com and watsonschoolofgolf.com.
Oh boy, schooloflifetimelowrounds.com and watsongolf.com.
Watson School of Golf.
Watson School of Golf.
You got it.
Golf.com. Excellent. Hey man, I've really enjoyed this conversation. You've enlightened me in so many ways, and I feel like we haven't even gotten started because that summit's coming and it's going to be mind-blowing. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Fred, for having me.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Something to be excited about with golf while we're locked at home. Oh. Again, you can get all the information on the teachers and more at consistentgolfsummit.com. The dates of the free event are April 14 to 16, 2020. I hope you didn't miss it already. But you can get so much more when you purchase the All Access Pass. Signing up for the summit before it begins on April 14th, the All Access Pass is $197. Then if you attend and are convinced that the additional information is definitely worth your time, you could still sign up for the All Access Pass for $247 between April 14 and April 16 when the summit's going on. And then after the summit is concluded, the cost for the All Access Pass, that is still an incredible deal considering the number and the quality of teachers involved, is only $297. A worthwhile investment, I think, to get this much instruction. I really think it's a great idea. Make sure that you get this on your calendar ASAP at consistentgolfsummit.com. Of course, I'll put links in today's show notes. This week on Golf Smarter Mulligans, we go back to Golf Smarter episode number 114 with Jennifer Monroe. Now, I say number 114 because the first 400 or so episodes of Golf Smarter is no longer available on any podcast platform that you listen to your podcasts. So that's why I wanted to bring back shows that are still really valuable today is when they were first recorded. And that's why we're bringing out this one with Jennifer Monroe. Now, she talks about the 4 different personality types that show up on the golf course. Why I love this episode is because you don't just learn how to identify your own golf personality, obviously, but you learn how to identify what the other types are, and which are the best and worst matches for you. That's our sister podcast from the archives of 400 plus hours of Golf Smarter called Golf Smarter Mulligans. You can find it wherever you get your favorite podcasts. How'd you like a brand new Seymour putter that can be customized to your specs for free? Well, great news. I want you to have one too. That's right. It's time for our Golf Smarter giveaways. Twice each month through the end of the year, we're giving away great golf prizes that will make you a better golfer. Registration is now open at golfsmarter.com, and your deadline to enter to win a Seymour putter is Sunday, April 12 at midnight Pacific Time, 3 a.m. Eastern. We'll announce the winner on April 14th. So click on the prize giveaway banner at the top of the homepage at golfsmarter.com or go directly to golfsmarter.com/giveaway2020. To make it easier, I'll put that link in today's show notes. So make sure you register to win before April 12th. Please follow at Golf Smarter on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Read more about our weekly content on LinkedIn. Or if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for me, I'd love to hear from you. Hey, let's just email each other for a while since there's not a ton more to do. Just click on the Hey Fred button at golfsmarter.com.